Hey there guys, this is going to go over task 1 of the Minesweeper tutorial. I thought I'd give you guys this to kind of get you started if you're having troubles getting a little bit stuck. So first task is to basically add the mines to the array, add mines to our integer array, and then after we've added them to the integer array, we're going to make them show up on the screen in the places that they're supposed to be. So I've already started off by copying and pasting kind of the code or the pseudocode I gave you inside the slide and pasted it here. And we're just going to go step by step through, and I'm going to kind of explain how we're doing this. So first thing we're going to check is we're going to make sure that we do have this declared at the top of our scenario. So this is just going to be a static variable that's holding on to the amount of mines that we're going to add to the world. And we don't have that, so we should add that in. So private final static int, and we'll put mines. Or why don't we put total mines? There we go, total mines, and we will set that to 40. Okay, you could include the static or not include the static. I'm not going to go into whether or not you need that here, just you can either have it or not. So we've got this, and now this will be a constant. We can't change it while the program's running. So we've got the total mines. We're going to head down here, and it says write the code for task 1 here. Fabulous. So we've got to create a loop counter. Okay, and so we'll just make it a local variable, and we're going to set it to 0. Okay, so we'll just say int, and we'll say mines so far. Okay, so this is going to be keeping track of how many mines we've added to the world so far. Or not added to the world, I apologize. Let me rephrase that. It's going to keep track of how many mines we've added to the array so far. Okay, there is a difference between this. Adding to the array, we're just adding an integer to our cell array. Okay, adding to the world, okay, means we're actually adding an object to represent what's inside that array into the world. Okay, so we've got this. We've set our loop counter to 0, and we're literally going to say, well, mines so far. Oh, you can see I got a text from a friend. That's fun. Well, mines so far is less than mines. Total mines. Okay. All right, so we've set our loop counter to 0. We have changed this, so we've got while mines so far is less than total mines. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a random integer value. Okay, and we'll call it int, and it says set j to equal a random number between 0 and 256. I'm going to do that. So greenfoot.get random number and 256. Great, so we've got that. We've set j to equal a random number between 0 and 256. Okay, so now this next part of things is going to help us figure out the cell row and column, okay, that we're going to put this mine in. Okay, so because we've got a 16 by 16 grid, that means we've got 256 squares that we could possibly put these mines in. So now we need to decide where in this 2D array we're actually going to put the mine. Okay, so we'll pick a random number and say it ends up being 12. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to determine the row by taking the number 12, okay, and dividing it by the number of rows total. So if we look into this here, okay, we've got rows is set to 16. Okay, go down here. Fabulous. J divided by rows. So 12 divided by 16, that doesn't quite fit in there. So what we're going to do is this will end up being in row 0, so the first row. Okay, so that'll decide that for us. Now, of course, that's hypothetical. We don't know that j is going to equal 12, but that's just an example. Now, we're also going to take j and we're going to divide it by the amount, or not divide it by the amount of columns, we're going to use modulus, and that's explained on this slide here for you, okay? Talking about modulus there. So we're going to take that, and we are going to take the number that we came up with, so hypothetically it could be 12, and we are going to divide that by the amount of columns we have, which is 16, okay? And realistically, 12 divided by 16, that doesn't work, okay? But modulus gives us the remainder. So the remainder would actually be 12. So hypothetically, this particular mine would end up in row 0, okay, and column 12. So that kind of ends up making it so that we've got the mine in a particular cell in the array, okay? Now, we dictate what is in the cell array by giving a number. And as I mentioned before, check out slide 6 here, and this has all the fancy math tricks. So in order to actually say we have a mine in this particular cell, we have right here a uncovered mine number. So number 9 is the uncovered mine number that we're going to put into that integer array. So if we look into this, and we look into what we've got inside of our Minesweeper task here, okay, we have to make sure that this particular cell, so we had decided that it was going to be, you know, hypothetically could be cell 012, okay, we're going to make sure it doesn't have a mine. Pretty simple to do this. If, okay, cell, which is the name of the array that is holding our 2D array, okay, if cell, ooh, a little too far here, cell RC does not equal 9, okay, we just want to make sure that it doesn't equal 9. We also can do, instead of 9, we have it as a constant. Right up here, we've got a constant, mine cell. As long as it doesn't equal a mine cell, okay, we are going to then make this a mine cell. Simply say cell RC is now equal to mine cell. Okay. All right, awesome. So that kind of takes care of the easier part of this. Now, the next part we're going to do right here is we have to make sure we add a mine object to the world. Now, this is more for testing purposes. We're actually going to change it later. But here, we're going to actually add a mine object so that we can see that there's only going to be 40 of these mine objects, like we decided before. We're going to say new mine, but the big problem comes along, where are we actually going to add this? We kind of have to think back to like something like the piano scenario, where we were spacing out the piano keys. We're going to do it in a similar fashion. Now, each of our tiles, as it mentions on slide 8 here, each of our tiles is going to be 20 by 20. Okay, so in order to do this, okay, we can say, okay, C, okay, we're going to do the column first, okay, because that's going to change the x value. The column is going to change the x value. So we can say C times 20 plus 10. Because these end up showing up halfway through, so we end up deciding where this tile is going to be placed based on its halfway point or its middle, okay? We don't want it showing up, only half of it showing up on the screen. We want it showing up right in the center of our column, okay? So we are going to place it at C times 20, okay? And we're going to place the other one at R times 20 plus 10. Okay, and you'll see how this works and how this spaces out quite nicely. The last part we have to do here is it says increment I, and of course we didn't call it I, we called it mines so far. So mines so far plus plus. So we're just incrementing that. So there we go. So let's compile, see what happens. We've got mines in our world. So you can double check and go through them and count and make sure that there's 40 and not 39 or 38, because that would mean you probably put mines over top of each other and something's wrong with this line right here. So if this cell does not have a mine. Okay, so again, it's going to make the mines show up. So if they're at, this probably looks like row 3, okay, or row, it's going to be row 3 down, and then column 1, which is actually going to be, it's going to show up in the correct spot when we do this little equation right here. Okay, so I'll leave you guys with that, and so that is solution to task 1. Hope that helps.